Hi, hello. So today I wanted to briefly show you how you can create some user interface for your scripts in Grasshopper. So something like this, which is an interactive window which you can move around and you can change some slider parameters here, or also something like this, these charts which you can see in my Rhino screen. And if I move my viewport around, they stay on place and they just overlay over my Rhino view. And we will accomplish this with the help of two plugins. One of them is called HumanUI, and the second one is Conduit. And I just wanted to show you briefly how to use them. So I will switch to my starting file where I still don't have them. And this is just an example file which I created very quickly. It just contains some street network of Erfurt and a boundary where I create some minor streets with the use of grid parcellation script. And this one results in this subdivision into city blocks. And then the second iteration of basically exactly the same script, but with different input parameters, which subdivides these city blocks further into individual parcels. And that's basically it. So we want to, and my task would be to create UI to control parcel sizes, show percentage of street area in the Rhino viewport, and maybe also plot the parcel size as the bar chart. So let me start. I want to make it really short video. And first of all, you need to download plugins. So you would need the HumanUI plugin and the Conduit plugin. Or to download them, you can go into the Tools, Package Manager, and here you will need to type HumanUI and download this plugin called HumanUI. And the next one is Conduit. So you download this one, you install it, and then you probably will have to restart Rhino and Grasshopper. So after you do it, you will have this plugin installed, and let us start with the first task of creating UI to control the parcel sizes. I will do it here below my script. So let me just type something like window, and you will see some components. One of them will be called launch window, and this is the component we need. So launch window is a very crucial component in HumanUI. If you Control Alt press the Control Alt click the component, you will see that the tab of HumanUI appears. That's an easy way to navigate to some tabs, because in my case, like I have too many plugins to actually navigate through them. I can only see these letters in my tab bar. So the launch window is situated in UI main tab. Here it is. And this one is pretty important because it starts the window. So let me connect a toggle to it, just a regular Boolean toggle to actually show my window. So when I switch it to true, you'll see that a new window appears. You can control width and height, of course. So if you lock something like this, so some slider or number, you'll be able to control the size of this window. You can change the name. So let me enter something like parcel size example. Um, yeah, so here's the window. Now we somehow need to add elements to it. We need to introduce some sliders and maybe text fields. You can do it using this UI elements tab. So if you open it, you will see plenty of components. I won't explain all of them because it will take forever, but you can definitely um, um, you will definitely have an intuition on what they should do. And if you don't, just try to add it to your window and see how it looks like. So I want to create a slider. So we'll take the create slider component. And to add it to my window, I need another component which is called add elements. So these two components are very important. So add elements takes two things. First of them is the window itself, and I have just created a window, so I can connect it here. And the second one is elements. So let me create a merge component so that I can plug all of my elements to this merge, and then I will connect it to the elements. Now my slider needs a slider input. That's just a regular Grasshopper slider, which I can create by typing something like 50 to, let's say, 250 meters. I can also give a name to the slider, like parcel size X. So if I connect the slider to the slider input of the create slider component and plug it into my add elements, you will see that the slider actually appears here in the window itself. Yeah, pretty cool. So let me copy this slider and rename the second slider to parcel size Y. And I can also plug this second slider into the merge component, which is connected to the add elements. Now I have two sliders. And it's pretty cool, right? It's very easy to build your UI like this. I can also add a label, which is just static text. So I can maybe connect a panel to it with some nice text and also plug it into the merge component, parcel size sliders. That's just example text. Of course, you can style it much better and yeah, think about your structure of this UI panel. You can also change the type of text, and I think that's enough for me now. So now I somehow need to connect the sliders to my Grasshopper, right? Because now if I change the value, I do not see it changing anywhere in Grasshopper. And to read value of these elements we have just created, you would need a component under UI main tab, which is called value listener. So this component takes an element like a slider, and it gives you the value of the slider. And if you just connect it to a panel like this, you'll see that if I change the slider, the result of value listener changes automatically and instantaneously. That's quite cool. And now we can simply use this value output to connect it to some parts in my script, like the city block depth, maybe. Or maybe not the city block, but the parcel, because I named it parcel. So let me connect it here. And now if I change the value of this slider in my HumanUI window, you see that it actually changes the value in Grasshopper, and thus the generation in Rhino also changes. Pretty cool. So now what I need to do is to connect the second slider in the same way. So I just duplicate the value listener, connect the second slider, and yeah, as you can probably imagine, if you create more than like 5 or 6 elements here, this HumanUI group can get very crowded with components. So it's always a good idea to group it somehow, maybe like this, and move it somewhere away from your script so that it does not get get into your script and doesn't yeah, it doesn't take too much space on your canvas where you need the space. So now connected both of the sliders, and as you can probably see, they do have an impact on the generation. It's all quite nice. It all works in real time. And of course, it's a bit slow just because my script is quite slow. So the same would actually happen if you would just plug regular sliders into these inputs. But if you have a fast script, then you won't even notice this delay which HumanUI introduces. It's almost instantaneous. Also, if you would like to add some more things to this panel, like let me say I want to copy this part, and maybe I want to rename the first one to city blocks. It's the city blocks size slider, and I can then rename my sliders city block size, and the second one And by the way, you can see that I have renamed the sliders, but they did not update in HumanUI. That's because you have to select them now and either change their value or just middle click and enable this plugin, which will refresh them. If the plugin is, if a component is enabled, click in enable. In this middle click menu, will just update it. It will just refresh it, and you will get this new these new labels here. So imagine if I want to copy this thing and to do the same but for parcels, and here it's for city blocks now. I can just create. I could probably use the same merge component to merge everything in the same place, but I can also structure it a bit better and create another merge where I will merge the results of the first merge and the second one. And now I can connect it to the add elements instead of the first merge. So that's how we can add more elements, right? Quite obvious. Also, I really invite you to search for good examples of what you can do with HumanUI in the internet. And I invite you to study this UI containers menu a bit, because it actually gives you a lot of cool features, like this create border one. So if I connect some of my UI elements to create border and connect it to my merge, you will see that it has created a border around it. So if I just decrease the thickness of the border, which is too high, this is what I get. And it's quite cool. And maybe you want to introduce a border over some of your items. And if you want the border to appear over like the whole group and not just every single item individually, you have to group your items first. So you can create a stack, create a group of your items. So you can create a stack from these elements, horizontal, true. No, I think I don't need the horizontal stack, so I will have to change it to false. Yes, now it's a vertical stack. And now if I let it go through create border component, you will see that I have a border around my elements now. Yeah, another component is create expander. And you can, in the same way, connect some elements to this expander component and then connect it to the add elements. I will do it through this merge component. And this one will create this expandable tab, basically. So maybe I'll actually also add it here, just so that you can better see how it can be useful. And also sometimes you have to update components if they break and do not result in any elements in your window. Yeah, you can also set some header text like this. Yeah, so I think you get the idea. It's quite helpful, it's quite cool. And in this HumanUI, you can do plenty of things. So if you just open browser and search for some HumanUI Grasshopper examples, you'll see that people do all these incredible diagrams inside HumanUI, and you can style your text. You can create some drop-down menus. You can create checkboxes. You can even display 3D geometry there. You can add buttons. You can add color pickers. So yeah, a lot of cool examples. Feel free to try your best with this interface thing. I'm not going to explain all the components here. I just wanted to show this one little thing. And also just know that you can style all these windows. You can make the window transparent. You can set color of the windows by this set window properties component, where you basically connect the window to the properties. And here you can change whatever you want. So you can change the theme. You can change accent color by right-clicking here and selecting create accent list, which will automatically create a list of all colors, which you can connect here and change these accent colors. So it's a lot of possibilities. You can spend hours just like constructing your menu in HumanUI. So that's pretty cool. So I so much don't like this color. Yeah, it's better. And the second part, which I wanted to show you, would be the conduit um, HUD. It's like heads-up display. So let me go maybe to the right now, and I will create the HUD, heads-up display. Again, if you Control-Alt-click the component, you will jump to the Proving Ground tab with all the components here. Heads-up display is the most important one. Here you will have the Show HUD button. So if you create a toggle again, like this, you'll be able to turn it on and off. So I'll turn it on now. It needs some boundary. And to get to the drawing boundary, we have this component called Get Viewport Boundary Dimensions. So if you just connect it there, that's what everybody's doing. So just do it. That's how heads-up display would know about the dimensions of your viewport in Rhino. And then some drawing objects. As drawing objects, let me find something like draw pie chart, maybe. So that's gonna create a new pie chart. So I want to connect it to the drawing objects now. And of course, you can use the merge to introduce many objects. And each object in Conduit plugin needs some boundary rectangle. So it needs some area where it should be displayed. And imagine that you have the viewport, and some of you would like to have this schemas or pie charts in the left upper corner. Some of you would want to have it in the middle. Some of you would have it in the right. So how do you define the place for it? For this, we have these vertical and horizontal tiles components, or maybe the grid tiles. I'll just take the vertical tiles now. And let me show you what happens. If you click on the Get Viewport Boundary Dimensions component and go to the origin of your Rhino view here, you will see that it has created a rectangle, and it has exactly the same dimensions as my viewport in Rhino. So if I change my Rhino window size and update this component, you will see how the rectangle also changed. So if I connect these bounds to the vertical tiles now, you will see how this component automatically created three smaller tiles inside this rectangle. So now as the output, it has three rectangles, and I can take any of them and um, just fit them into this boundary rectangle of the draw pie chart. So I can use the list item and plug it here. Okay, so now which one did I select? I selected the lower one. So maybe I want to select the higher one, the upper one. So I will select the list item with index -1, which means the last item. It's the same as selecting the last item. And so, yeah, this should be the correct one. Now we need some data. So as the data, let me just create a new panel with some elements like 45, 23, 2, 45, right? So I have some data now, and be cautious with panels, because sometimes, like if you just enter this data here, the panel still will contain only one single text object. So this is one element now, not a list of numbers. And if you want to convert it to a list of numbers, you will have to right-click it and deselect multi-line data. Now you can see that we have 4 elements here, right? And you can do the same in this window. So if you have the panel opened in this window, you have to deselect these multi-line items here. And now you have 4 elements. And if I connect it to data values, yes, I expect to see a new pie chart appearing in the corner. If I set any other boundary for it, you will see how it also moves. And here we go, basically. So now we know how to create a pie chart here. And as the data, I wanted to give it some, like the percentage of asphalt area, basically, so the total area of roads on my plot. And I think we can very quickly do it. So to do it, I will just copy my boundary object, which is the total boundary of my plot, calculate its area, and I will subtract the area of all parcels, right? So I'm taking this area and I'm subtract the area of all parcels, which I first have to sum up. So I have to use mass addition component, which allows me to sum up all numbers in a list. So if I do it, I have some result. And if I subtract this result from the original boundary, you will see that basically results in some number. And so now I need to merge this number, which is, let me give it a name, which is the road surfaces area. And the next one, which is just the summed up area of all parcels. So I will call it parcel surfaces area. So now I have a list with two of these values. And if I connect it to the data values of my pie chart, you will see basically the result. And I'm not sure it is completely correct because you can see that some parcels did not result in any areas, right? So maybe I need to adjust my values here. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, so I guess it was some kind of bug. Maybe. Maybe my numbers are too high or too low. Or maybe I have to disable this parameterization here. So let me just disable parameterization for now and just connect, the parcel width instead of, I just used to have the domain here to parameterize it, but now I'm giving it just one number. So yeah, I had to change it to, I had to disable the parameterization. But basically here we are. We have our pie chart. You can customize it, of course. And again, I won't show all the things you can do with it now because I wanted to keep this video really short, but you can definitely find a lot of information on this online. So if you now change some of the values, you can see how the total area of street changes as well. And yeah, you will always have this pie chart lying around in the Rhino view now. And if you want to add some more things, you can easily do it by using this conduit chart or pie chart or a bubble chart. Some of them have settings. So you can also find some tutorials online from the creator of Conduit. I think they are on YouTube. So you can just Google Conduit Grasshopper tutorial. And I think there will be 4 videos from the creator who describes all the features of this plugin. And you can definitely do it better than me. And yeah, for now, maybe you can just add label to your pie chart. Oh yeah, I think it's not the label, it's labels. So it's one label per one part on this pie chart. Okay, but surely there are like a lot of other things you can do. So you can draw text as well. Maybe like this pie chart text. And as the boundary, I need to give it some other boundary. Ooh, that's quite a lot of space it takes. Oh yeah, maybe the last thing I can show you is that these vertical tiles takes the relative sizes of tiles, right? So if you have 3 tiles here, um, if you give it, instead of 111, you give it 3 different numbers, it will subdivide your full viewport using these proportions. And one cool way to do it is to use the gene pool. You can find it here in the parameters tab, the very first one, under utilities, gene pool. It's just like if you double tap and click it, you can specify a number of values there, and it's basically an element with multiple sliders. So if I pass it into relative sizes and start adjusting the sliders, you will see how the size of these individual things also changes. And maybe this is one way how I can decrease the size of my pie chart text. So you see that now this one is selected as the pie chart. And maybe I need to select another one, another boundary, this one. And now I need to adjust its size. That's this one. Okay, yeah, so this is how I can adjust my size of the text. And as I showed you, you can place your diagrams now in any space on the screen using these vertical tiles or horizontal tiles or grid tiles. And you can also adjust the color palette, fonts, and everything. So that was hopefully a very short and informative video. We have created this HumanUI, we have created this conduit, pie chart, and nothing can limit you now in terms of UI in Grasshopper. You can do many more things with these plugins, and I hope to see some of them in your projects. Thank you.